developmental disabilities is age 22.
22.
Some students, we actually have a couple students graduating this year from their programs. So they can graduate or they can stay there to the age of 22.
Thank you. Any more questions? Mike, you all set?
I'm good.
All right, thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
Turn it over to my big brother, Joe.
The man of the hour.
He has 3 slides.
Mr. Walton's always a tough act to follow. You could at least move it. You could have just. Yeah. Thank you.
Don't touch anything.
Thank you, everybody. Looking forward to next year's budget. I really am. 3 key points. Continue building security, district-wide safety team. Upgrade the parking lot at our high school. And energy improvement projects district-wide. If you notice the picture that I chose to put up there, the before and after. This summer we replaced our track at the high school, everybody knows. But the important thing that people need to try to get across is that when we built our high school almost 20 years ago, the foundation that was put on there was second to none. So what I mean by that is when the contractor came in and replaced the turf, the rubber, he noticed how well maintained it was underneath. Basically, it's a road, and this road was in perfect condition. There wasn't a heave, there wasn't a crack. It was perfect, which wasn't good for him because there's no change orders. It would have cost us a lot of money if that was the case, because they make their money really on the change orders. But it was credit to, I think, the work that was involved 20 years ago to make this project that we did that cost about $288,000 acceptable, because it could have been a lot more. So now you'll see no green in mine. I'm sorry, but the changes to the line items are pretty basic. We pretty much went up 3% across the board on our natural gas, electrical, sewer, and our custodial supply. Now, you're probably wondering about the sewer, but as I stated before, what goes in must come out. So those are the rates that we get from our Blackstone. That's why they're as high as they are. Over at the middle school, the same thing, electrical, water, and sewage. We bumped it up, as Dr. Chamberlain stated, that we do have a contract that we partner with the town for the electrical and the natural gas. That's set to expire the following year, so they'll be negotiating that throughout next year. Line items to Swanson Road, same thing, electrical and custodial supply. It's just a mere 3%. I call that the cost of living, but hopefully it won't be higher than that. Packagug, same thing, electrical and sewer. What goes in must come out. Bryn Mawr, the same thing. Electrical might be a little bit higher because that's actually an exciting project. Bryn Mawr is pretty much all heat pumps, upper and lower. So really excited to see how that's going to turn out at the end of the year. We should save on our fuel consumption, but the trade-off is we're gonna pay a little bit more for electricity. But I guess you'll get that constant comfort level, which we all need. Central office, same thing, electrical, district-wide telephones. We bumped that up to 30,000. Our telephones are pretty unique, and I think I talk about this every year. We have the function that no matter where you are in our district, if you call 911, it goes right to the police station, and it tells you exactly what room you're in. So it takes out that middle person, so they know right out of the gate they're going to room 212 at Packagug. So it potentially could save a life. So we got some great features that's out there. Building security, we upped that $10,000 just because the fact of, just the cost of business. Cameras, technology is so expensive, but it's where we're at today. Fire extinguishers, pretty much the same. Truck and gas, it's not just for one vehicle. We got famous Rocket 1 and Rocket 2. That requires some maintenance. But it's the best it could be. But in closing, I can't thank you guys enough. I can't thank my superintendent, although she told me nothing tonight. Want that on record, nothing. But no, it's been a pleasure. It really has. With some great colleagues. Well, most great. But in closing, I say it every year. I have a great staff. I think our custodians are our backbone of our community. And I don't want to take any credit for me retiring, but I got a custodian, Joel Creelman. Been here for 17 years. Started part-time. He's head custodian, second shift. The guy would do anything for you, right? Shows up. I've even seen him on a Saturday when he was supposed to be working, doing work. He's just had that commitment. Because all the guys do. Because, it's just not, it's kids first. And they all put that first. So, I thank you.
Thank you. I have one question. Do we contact you in retirement to let you know about the Bryn Mawr sewage pumps? We're excited to see how that shakes out, so.
Well, actually, my granddaughter goes there, so I'm
Oh,
excited.
perfect.
So that's not why we did the heat pumps, by the way.
And give me an update and I'll let you know.
But I'm
when you
more than
confirm.
happy to.
Oh, perfect, yeah.
You guys are in great hands. They had a team together. They hired Greg Gregoire, who's hit the ball. He's great. You'll have no problems at all. You'll forget my name.
No, we won't.
No way.
Never.
Eric, I think you're up.
Hi. Since we're talking about Joe tonight, I just want to say, too, Joe will tell you that he's not very technologically literate, but he has brought their department forward tremendously in technology. And we have worked really closely together through these years, and we will definitely miss him, although we do look forward to working with our new Director of Facilities, Glenn. Yeah, we'll see. Report back next year. But looking at next year's budget, yep, there's some yellow there, but the technology is technology. As we look forward to next year, you've heard me talk about this now. We're doing a lot with enhancing student data privacy, making sure that our students' data is safe, and not just our students, but our staff. And just network security, student security is paramount to what we do these days. We have to be aware of it at all times. And we never know when something is going to pop up that could be dangerous to the way that we conduct school. So a lot of what we do and a lot of what goes into some of these lines is trying to keep up with the latest threats, and there are new ones every day, and making sure that our hardware and our software is up to date and capable of protecting the daily activities in the schools. So as we look at this, you'll see the dues line, that went up slightly because my main organization I belong to raised theirs. But computer maintenance services, that's a line item that directly relates to hardware and service contracts for the hardware. So firewalls, servers, switches, that kind of stuff. Those numbers they go up every year as the manufacturers raise their rates and those types of things. There's really not much new there, but the numbers do continue to rise, and unfortunately we have to stay with them to keep everything running well. That's computer maintenance services. Computer software, that is pretty much everything else that we do in the district. All of the services that students use in their classrooms, PowerSchool, iReady, a lot of that type of stuff, Schoology, all of these very core features. Again, most of this stuff now is software as a service, so we don't own it. It used to be the good old days was you'd buy it and you'd own it and you wouldn't have to pay for it every year, but these days everything is in the cloud, and that's good and bad, and everything is an annual fee. So those numbers, they continue to rise. Last year we were lucky and those numbers went down, because we were able to eliminate some software that we no longer needed. And I think that's an important point, We look at every piece of software every year when we do this, and we decide based on usage, if we have access to that data, if this is a piece of software that's still needed to be used in the district, because times change. Something that was great 4 years ago, teachers may have moved on to something new. We don't need that anymore. We can see that in usage, and we can decrease it. But all of that software is carefully inspected and made sure that it is necessary to the running of our school. And it is not just technology. It could be DocuSign, as an example. All of that stuff that gets implemented throughout the year as it's technology related comes to us. And we've seen increases in areas related to EL as those numbers have continued to increase, and we have to respond to that. And special ed, as new and exciting things come out to help those students, we have to help respond to that. So the numbers climb. It's unfortunate. No one likes to see the yellow. We're all ashamed of the yellow, but it is the truth. And it's all to making sure that our kids are safe, that they have the technology resources in their hands and in their teachers' hands to make sure that they can be successful in their classroom. So there we go.
Any questions for Mr. Bouvier?
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am proud to be presenting as the business manager this evening and want to highlight the following. I'm excited to continue the collaboration with central office staff to manage and allocate grant funding to supplement and offset our budget needs. Currently, I'm working with Mr. Bouvier and Dr. Chamberlain on our Apple initiative to ensure the best products and pricing for our district, utilizing our CIP funding. Having worked with Mr. Fahey over the last 9 years as the PAC principal and now collaborating as the business manager, he will be greatly missed. I'm looking forward to working with our new facilities director, Glenn Gregoire, and learning from him and his prior experiences in managing our CIP projects. As always, student safety is a top priority, and I will continue to work with our transportation vendors, crossing guards, and school resource officers to ensure such. I am proud to report the business office is fully staffed. I am. And I'm staffed with dedicated, knowledgeable, and efficient employees. They are amazing, and we are building a fabulous team. Some examples of our initiatives for cost savings and increased productivity include implementation of the FMX facilities program, which I will highlight a little later this evening, arbiter pay for athletic officials, direct deposit of admission fees through the GoFan app, employee self-service for cost savings and ease of use for employees with readily available payroll documents such as pay stubs and W-2s. I'm also working with Rico and Eric Bouvier with our copy machine vendor to eliminate fax machines for cost savings of paper fax machines, which, believe it or not, are kind of dinosaurs, and the cost of those supplies. We are also obtaining and uploading vendor email addresses for ease of ordering all of our supplies. As we have shared, we have budgeted a 10% increase in transportation costs as I go out for bid for transportation. However, we have decreased the amount for community service learning transportation to $10,000 as the full amount is not needed. And lastly, I'm not requesting any new positions. Just keep your fingers crossed that everybody stays. Thank you for all of your support, and I can answer any questions you may have.
I'll be keeping my fingers crossed for you.
Yes. All right, I'll pass it over to Ms. Carlson, principal of Packagug.
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming to my very first budget presentation here in Auburn. I just want to say it's been a wonderful first few months for me here in Auburn. I have to say the staff, administration have been so welcoming, and it's such a dedicated staff that I work with. I feel very fortunate that I'm at Packagug. As you know, Bryn Mawr and Packagug are sister kindergarten through second grade schools. So there are a lot of similarities between Brooke's presentation and my presentation. I'll try to be concise. As we look ahead to the fiscal year 2026, there are several key areas of focus that we will continue to prioritize in order to strengthen the educational experiences for our students. And the first thing I would say is the Empowering Writers Program. We will maintain our commitment to the Empower Writing Program. I know it's already been referred to this evening. This allows us to differentiate support for students at varying levels of writing proficiency. This program has been valuable in starting to meet the needs for individual students, and we want to ensure its continued integration into our curriculum and expansion across the grade levels. And then also implementation and training for a new math curriculum. Alan again had referred to that earlier this evening. That will be a major focus as we are moving forward. Although we are in the process right now, or I shouldn't say we, the committee led by Alan actually is in the process of choosing the best math curriculum for Auburn, K-8. We are committed to providing a comprehensive training for our teachers to ensure they can effectively integrate this curriculum into their classrooms. And this training will support our goal of improving math literacy and providing students with a strong foundation in mathematical concepts. And then, of course, our social emotional learning continues to be an important emphasis on our schools. We are incorporating positive behavioral supports, restorative practices, and strategies to strengthen student relationships. This is central to fostering a supportive, inclusive environment where all of our students feel safe, valued, and capable of success. And by furthering embedding SEL into our daily practices, we aim to continue to build upon a school climate that nurtures emotional well-being and academic growth. And then finally, the continued implementation of the Universal Design for Learning, or we refer to as UDL, practices. Our UDL coaches from both Packagug and Bryn Mawr have been leading professional development for their colleagues and continue to collaborate with each other. We have many great UDL practices in place already and are expanding and updating our practices for the future through the use of UDL coaches, professional development in our professional learning communities. And all these initiatives reflect our ongoing commitment to student success, both academically and socially. As always, our goal is to support our students in becoming not only skilled learners, but also confident, compassionate individuals who are prepared for the challenges ahead. Please note that there are no changes to line items, nor any new positions being requested at Packagug for the school year, the fiscal year 2025-2026. Are there any questions I can answer for you?
No, that's great.
Thank you so much. So I will turn it over to Mrs. Brooke Beverly.
I'm always envious of everyone who can come up here and speak without reading their notes. It'll be a skill I will have to learn. So, like, Mr. Keller and Mr. Walton were amazing at being able to just go through and just talk. I'll work on that. So good evening, everyone here at the school committee. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you and other district administrators to share Bryn Mawr's areas of focus for the upcoming school year. Ms. Carlson shared the initiatives for Packagug School moments ago. And to ensure that Auburn's kindergarten, first, and second graders have a positive and engaging experience, our focus areas align. So this year we started our school year off with a theme of what we do matters. And I just want to thank everyone here for just going through and just for everything that we do here and everyone in this room and anyone who might be watching and all of our district educators that are here. We know that what we do matters for all of Auburn's teachers and all of Auburn's students. So our first area of focus is to enhance writing with a structured Empowering Writers curriculum, equipping students to become confident, proficient writers. Teaching primary age students to write and express themselves is a profoundly powerful and inspiring journey. At any age, children are brimming with curiosity and imagination, and writing gives them a tangible way to bring their thoughts to life. In these early moments, when a child writes their first story, shares their feelings in words or in pictures, or proudly reads and shares their work aloud, that is when we witness the magic of self-expression taking root. Writing helps them find a voice. It instills confidence and unlocks the limitless potential in their creativity. It's more than just learning a skill. It's empowering them to see that their ideas matter, that their stories are unique, and that their words have power to connect, inspire, and to make a difference in the world. This year, educators are participating in professional development to learn the Empowering Writers program. This writing program enhances our ELA Wonders program, and the implementation fully next year will provide a stronger writing foundation for our primary students as they progress over to Swiss in Auburn Middle School and Auburn High School. Our second area of focus is to implement the new math program to boost achievement with differentiated support for diverse and underrepresented groups, including our English language learners and special education students. Mr. Keller and district educators have been working this year to explore new math curriculums that are curated that will strengthen the education of Auburn students from kindergarten all the way through grade 8. So implementing a new math program that's designed to boost achievement is a transformative step towards ensuring that every student thrives regardless of their background or learning needs. By offering differentiated support, we can create a learning environment where the diverse and underrepresented groups feel seen, feel valued, and empowered. We recognize that every student learns differently and provides the tools to meet them where they are, fostering growth and confidence in their abilities. Watching students overcome challenges, discover their love for math, and achieve success they once thought was impossible is really inspiring. It's a testament to the power of equity-driven education, proving that with the right support, all students can reach their full potential. Our third area of focus is to promote social-emotional learning through relationships, positive behavioral supports, restorative practices, and wellness initiatives. This past summer, Bryn Mawr School had the privilege of training 6 educators in the Tier 1 restorative practices training that happened. And we look forward to training some other educators this upcoming summer. Restorative circles kind of create a safe space for students to connect, share, and listen. This strengthens relationships between peers and their teachers, fostering a sense of belonging and trust. We have found that these circles practices teach our children that voices matter, conflicts can be resolved with understanding, and that a strong community is built on respect and care. This lays the foundation for both personal growth and for a thriving classroom culture. We continue to work with relationship mapping and PBIS to ensure that our students know how to be respectful, responsible, safe, and kind. Our counselor, Mrs. Moriarty, has conducted minute meetings with, which usually are a couple minute meetings, with each student, and she's doing this 3 times a year to ensure that every student has an SEL check-in to help identify any Tier 2 and Tier 3 SEL needs through a personal connection. We remain committed to nurturing an environment where students and staff can flourish emotionally, physically, and academically. Our final area of focus is anchoring learning with curriculum, utilizing universal design or UDL principles. This year, we've kind of taken a deep dive into the revised UDL rubric that was published in July of 2024. The latest iteration emphasizes kind of cultivating learner agency, which is like the capacity for learners to kind of take ownership in their education by making choices, setting goals, taking initiative through their learning process. That's here. So an increased focus on bias and equity and promoting inclusive practices. At Bryn Mawr, we've focused on the multiple means of engagement strand, particularly how K-2 students access learning through nurturing play and sort of honoring their interests and identities. We know that play sparks, curiosity, fosters growth, helps students, in many different ways. The engagement strand also emphasizes information about emotional capacity, where students develop empathy through restorative practices, and they learn how how to repair harm, and this aligns with our SEL area of focus as well. We're prioritizing fostering a sense of belonging and community, making sure students feel loved and valued. In January, Bryn Mawr's UDL coaches and some students will be here to present to the school committee during their student spotlight to share how they implement UDL through through ELA. So at this time, I'd like to share that there are no changes. I have no green or any colors on any of my line items. We will remain level funded. We're not requesting any new positions at Bryn Mawr at this budget. Are there any questions at this time?
Any questions? No. I just have a comment. I like the what we do matters. That's good and bad. You know, it's good for the kids to recognize that every day, all day long, that what they do matters. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
All right. Thank you all
Thank
for
you.
your commitment to Auburn. I'm now going to turn it over to Dr. Susan Lopez, the principal of Swanson Intermediate School.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Wonderful to see everybody again. Looking forward to sharing a few highlights from last year's budget and how it aligned to our strategic plan, and then share some of the highlights that I look forward to spearheading in the upcoming year. So under the teaching and learning, some of our highlights surrounded the full implementation of universal design for learning in all content areas and in our specialist classrooms. You've heard over the years, this really allows our students to demonstrate their understanding in a way not only that is engaging, but it speaks to their learning styles and preferences. We've also successfully implemented the new Wonders Literacy Program. This has been a tremendous positive addition in the content that is very rich, it's diverse, and it's rigorous. It aligns beautifully with the learning rigor that the Auburn Public Schools holds for all of our students. It also provides differentiated activities and access to level texts and writing opportunities to ensure that all students are growing and learning grade level standards. The expansion of project-based learning has been embedded not only in science and social studies, but in ELA as well. In all classrooms, these hands-on learning opportunities help students to make connections and context with the world around them. And finally, our use of iReady has been broadened not only to be used as a tool for diagnostic assessments and intervention, but also in a way to specifically address the skills needing specific practice in both ELA and math. Under the health, wellness, and safety umbrella, we've successfully been utilizing the concepts, skills, and strategies in our approach to restorative practices. This is seen more broadly in our morning meetings, conflict resolution practices, and restorative conversations. It's been a tremendous tool and approach. We're very grateful to have had this professional development and look forward to continuing its expansion. It truly centers around respect, dignity, and respect and dignity of another human being and how we interact with one another, even when emotions run high. We've also seen a number of safety procedures, presentations, and adjustments, not only throughout the district, but at Swanson, specifically seen in assemblies through visitors from the Auburn Police Department, Auburn Fire Department, the District Attorney's Office, and other social organizations that support our community. Speaking of community, our community partnerships continue to expand as we seek ways to draw our children's awareness of how they can impact their school, their families, their community, and even people halfway around the world. We've tailored community projects and service learning projects that reinforce the importance of being grateful. There's always someone worse off. And as always, remembering the need to treat every human being with dignity, respect, and kindness. So moving forward into the upcoming year, there are 5 areas of focus that I'd like to speak to this evening. The first is to sustain and refine the implementation of empowering writers. And I can tell you it's already having a tremendous impact on student engagement and success, and developing a mindset and a love of writing, as well as the power of the written word. I'm looking forward to continuing the professional development surrounding this and fully implementing all components of the program in the years to come. I have no doubt our young writers will be blossoming into confident and articulate authors. Next, we're looking forward to fully implementing a new math program, focusing on problem-solving skills and conceptual understanding, which we know is often difficult developmentally for our little ones. Following the program, while still providing differentiated instruction and UDL strategies, we'll continue to support and make accessible the grade-level math curriculum for all students. I know I spoke briefly about restorative practices and circles. We'll continue this philosophy and its practices through more opportunities with professional development. This common way of approaching conflict not only has positively impacted behavior and conflict resolution, but has made greater impact on effective communication between students through explicit modeling by teachers and meaningful, heartfelt, respectful conversations among students, staff, and administration. This has resulted in a stronger relationship just seen across the board. This past year, we've done a considerable amount of work with Landmark Outreach to support language-based practices across all curricular areas, not only to strengthen our special education practices, but to strengthen our practices in general. The last focus area that I'll speak to this evening is to continue to examine peer mentoring opportunities, to promote solid relationships and genuine relationships, empathy and leadership among our students. Currently, we have multi-grade level classroom peer buddies and unified mentors. We'll be seeking other opportunities where students can lead and model for peers the values, compassion, work ethic, and kindness that we want for our school, our community, our nation, and quite frankly, our world. As we move into a more budgetary aspect, everything you'll see in the budget this year is proposed as the same as last year. You'll see there are changes to one line item, and that is on library supplies. The previous budget was $3,500. It's been decreased to $500. The reason for this is we have well-stocked classroom libraries and many resources where students have the opportunities to read diverse books and literature. Also, our library currently, though still full of books, which can be accessed if needed, has been transformed into a learning space for several teachers and groups of children. I'm also requesting one new position for the upcoming school year, which is a special education teacher. We've had an increase in the numbers of students in both our intensive special needs classroom, as well as throughout our school that require the expertise of an additional special education teacher. By adding this position, we'll be better able to serve our students with specific learning needs. Thank you for your consideration, and if there's anything I can answer, I'm happy to do so.
Any questions? No questions?
Yeah.
Nope, no
What
questions.
grade are we seeing an increase in special ed needs? Or is it like, is it grade specific or is it going to be across the grades?
I wouldn't say it's grade specific. I think it's across the board. I can't speak to that specifically if there's a grade level that I see specific. There really isn't. We've had several move-in students as well, a number of move-ins, yeah, and with significant needs, so. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. Mr. Carlson for you.
It's a new guy, thanks. All right, good evening. So I'm here to talk about the middle school. You're going to notice a lot of common themes. We're all working together to kind of really align everything we're doing K to 12. So I'll just touch on briefly a couple of our curriculum items as far as the UDL. We're continuing our work with that. Our coaches are being trained. They're very active. We're starting a book club, which actually I have the privilege of having an amazing assistant that I stole from elementary school. And she brought some of the best ideas from Swanson Road, and then we're kind of incorporating them at our level too. So we have a book club that we'll be running. It's going to allow the teachers to have meaningful discussions and kind of engage in talking about how we can, reach our students and it's kind of becoming infectious. A lot of people are ready. It's been a couple of years. It was tough for a little bit there, but people are really excited about kind of moving forward and kind of looking at the way that we do things and changing it up to make it a little more relevant to the kids in this day and age. We're also working with Landmark. Again, they're meeting with our ELA department as well as special education. They're going to be working on common language. And we're going to be working, we're pretty much tying this in. We have Empowering Writers, which is going to be coming up next year. We're doing a bunch of work with that in our ELA department to get ready for that next year. All of that is going to be, basically we'll be starting in the ELA department and kind of moving out towards our social studies, science, and then finally math, which is a little less writing intensive, but we want common language throughout the building so that the students from grade 6 through grade 8, there's a common expectations, which is something that we've done, but we're kind of tuning it, fine-tuning it at this point. So it's really nice. As far as that goes, as far as our safety, we continue to work on our ALICE protocols. But this year we've incorporated the Sandy Hook Promise, which is something we've so delighted to be involved in. I think we've been on a waiting list for a while for that. It's an anonymous reporting system. It is very powerful. I will tell you, we've had 12 tips, and it goes for varying levels. There's, tier 1, which is emergent, and tier 2 is something we got to deal with it, but it's not like something that has to be dealt with like tonight. And then we have something that's kind of like, this is just good information to have, so that our counselors can kind of check in with different students. It has been an amazing system. I have a great team. There's 10, all of our counselors signed on, and they're putting in time on the weekends and at night, just to make sure that our kids are safe and feeling like they're part of something, which has kind of been the mission of the school this year, is that we want everybody to feel like that they belong. So a lot of our initiatives and a lot of things that we're doing are trying to make sure that, it's hard enough for a lot of people just to wake up and to come into work or to school, but we want it to be a place where, it's not bad, right? Once you get there, it's great. And you feel like we all have that. I drive it every day, and I'm like, oh man, but then I get there, I'm like, I'm so excited. But that's kind of where we want to be. We're doing a bunch of things like that. I want all of the teachers this year building relationships, doing a lot of things with relationship mapping in our school improvement committees. We have 84 staff members there and 627 students, and it really is not too much to ask for everybody to identify 8 people, 8 children that they can connect with. So that's something that we're doing and we're continuously working on. Let's see. We're bringing in community partnerships. We've had the DA in. We've had our first school-wide assembly in a very long time. It was yesterday. We battle tested the gym, put 600 of them in the bleachers. It was amazing. The speaker came in to talk about kindness and compassion. It's kind of along with anti-bullying. He sent a great message to the students. Thought that was pretty awesome. We worked in partnership with Oxford. They actually brought it to our attention, and it was something nice. Our PTO, which is actually something our ARC Junior, it started to come back up again, and they co-sponsored that. Actually, they didn't co-sponsor it, they sponsored it. So they had some money from years past, and they were able to pay for that. So that was really nice of them. Looking forward, we're doing some vertical alignment with the high school. We're going to be looking at doing some of that with Swanson as far as our practices. And this spring, we're looking to bring back our career day, which is something that we'll probably be reaching out to all of you to be involved in that. But we're looking to do a school-wide thing. It's an initiative of our guidance department as well as our unified art teachers. They are going to be putting that on for all of the students in the school, which is going to be, and a lot of community members. We really want as much community as possible. But then there's hopefully some surprise guests that may make an appearance. I don't know. People make promises, but we'll see. And one of the other things we're doing along with that is our civics curriculum. They're doing a state fair project in our 8th grade. So it's kind of like the Big E. They were inspired by the Big E. Basically, groups of students throughout the grade, they work on a cross-curricular project, and they identify a state, and then they're going to have like an exposition at the end of the year. So that's something that we'll be inviting people into. And then my vision for the future in 7th grade is, because it follows like the world history, we'll have like some sort of international fair as well, which would be kind of cool to wrap in different cultures, not just the states. And I think that's it. I think I've talked enough. So are there any questions from you?
Through the chair, if I can just say, my daughter came home yesterday. The assembly was yesterday, right?
It was yesterday.
The days blend. And she never gets excited to tell me anything, and she really enjoyed that assembly.
Yeah. He was amazing. His name's Ed Garrity. He's been around for like 30 years. He used to run the student council circuit down at the Cape. And he's really cool. And I think that all the students, the 8th grade and 6th grade, they loved being in the same room together. And actually, it kind of inspired me to think about towards the summer, like working with the 5th grade coming up. He was talking about one of the coolest things was when he would walk through the halls and everybody walks with their heads down, but the 8th graders would say hi to him. And when he was in 6th grade, and it was just the coolest thing in the world. I said, why can't we do that? So maybe this summer we were looking to have some sort of student-led orientation is what we're working on with the guidance department now.
Great idea.
And yeah, it's kind of like a college one, except with all the partying. But but you know, the one everybody goes to in August. But everybody comes in, we do some sort of activities like scavenger hunts, but kind of build a relationship in small groups with
Great
some
idea.
of the 7th graders. So
Yeah.
going into 8th grade. So other than that,
Yeah, just a comment from myself. The relationship mapping, seeing it in action, that's just amazing. You know, everyone has 8 kids. Seems very doable.
it is
yeah.
custodians. Everybody's on board. We have custodians. Joe's guys are great. The secretaries, custodians, ABAs, IAs, nurses, everybody. They're all in. So
Great.
you know, we all want to feel like we belong. You know,
Yep,
so that's
especially middle school. It's so hard.
Yeah, it's a
still-
hard time.
Yeah.
I hated it, and I wouldn't go back for all the money in the world. So. Although I say that now, but I guess if you had all the money, it might be different. But, so other than that, I think any more questions?
Yeah, just that Sandy Hook seems like it's giving kids a voice.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
an anonymous
I think it's
voice.
fantastic.
So it's
really
great.
empowering.
Yeah.
It's you know, and like we were talking about, so we had a meeting today with them, kind of a check-in of the Sandy Hook people, and you know, a lot of it is we kind of are on top of it, but giving the students a voice and knowing that they're heard, even though if it's anonymous, we can respond to them through the iPads and through our online system. So it's you know, a lot of times I think people don't think that things happen, you know, but now we have a chance to kind of let them know we're on it, you know. So.
Yeah, it's amazing. So,
And through the chair, having 10 staff members, was it 10 that signed up to?
Including myself and Miss Clough.
Yeah,
yes.
that's amazing.
wow,
that,
yeah.
You know,
Nights
they
and weekends
Guidance
doing
social workers.
can tell they
That's-
care about the kids.
thank them for us. That's just
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's, we have an amazing team, as do all the other schools, but I put my money on them every day. So without them, I'd just be a guy standing there. But like they make everything look great. Trust me.
You do.
So,
you do have a great group.
but other
Yeah.
I don't know. Miss Bailey.
Miss Bailey.
Miss Bailey. I wanted to be the principal of the high school.
Thank you, Matt.
You guys did your hair the same tonight.
Okay, let me find my Miss Bailey
Because they have
notes.
older students.
I just want to start with, I know Joe can't see me, but I see Joe. I just want to say thank you, Joe. Truly fabric that makes Auburn great, so thank you for everything that you do. It's tough just seeing your eyes right now, it's kind of eerie, but I would say one last request, if you could get some air conditioning in this room for this poor guy. I can't hide anything. Anyways, okay, so fine arts. And as somebody that just took part in the last play, I can't begin to tell you how hard it is and how much respect I have for the amount of effort, preparation, time that those kids put in. It was amazing, actually. But I had the fortunate pleasure of being around our band multiple times, our chorus, as well as being at both shows. And so I got a chance to see at least the high school version of our fine arts program, as well as our art teacher, who is just truly amazing. So with that being said, as far as looking forward and looking at our focus and expectations, we are always, and I think I've told you this before, we are always looking at trying to find ways to kind of hook kids. Our arts are one way to take a look at what's happening in today's day from a current event standpoint, and trying to mirror activities, mirror courses that kind of align with what kids might be interested in. So we're always trying to be creative. Miss Bailey does a wonderful job with sharing different ideas. Some things I'm not even aware of, whether it's like, and some things that's simple, like a garage band where the kids are actually performing their own music, and we're putting 4 or 5 kids who have different backgrounds and interests into a band where they develop a project, which I think is pretty awesome. Never mind, they actually sound good too at the same time. We are trying to increase our student retention and our enrollment, and making sure that we grow our band and choruses. I think, as we've talked about in the past as well, COVID, that was that one time. This is that one area that it really kind of slowed us down a little bit, because it was awful hard to get together in groups. Now, we tried and we did a lot of great things, but I think now It's almost like this Renaissance time period where there's a lot of interest. I just happened to be at our middle school and high school concert, the chorus concert the other night, and to have 6th through 12th grade all on the stage together. I don't know if anybody got a chance to see that, but it was truly fantastic.
I didn't make it, but I heard great things
Oh, the
about it.
videos
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
Facebook
it was just a wonderful
unbelievable.
evening.
They were
So,
great.
and we're,
yeah.
we're seeing the signs of some of the growth within the programs.
Yeah.
So, and the kids are truly excited too as well. So that's really good to report, and we want to see even more growth. We are trying to look at, we're working on something now where we have a Auburn High School chorus, a unified class for music, where they're working with our students in the Rise and Evolve classroom. So it's roughly a group of like 20. It's at our building block stages now. We're trying a lot of things. Miss Bailey is super excited, as well as the student helpers in the room, and we're seeing good things, and we're going to try to further develop that program for our kids. Next year, well, we're in the process of this year working on coming up with a new elective called Pop Choir, just to expand some of our offerings. And that came from both our new music teacher as well as some of the students who I think had some experiences at previous locations and thought that might be a good thing to add to our program. So stay tuned, and hopefully maybe next year I can even maybe get a sampling of what that course looks like. And then the last thing is just to increase the opportunities for students to use technology to create, express, and engage in all the music styles. So again, that's kind of something that's a work in progress. As far as changes, there's one change. And I think it just reflects the changes in transportation costs, because our band chorus travels to many, many competitions throughout the year. So when we can use Rocket One for our smallest groups, we do. But at times when we're moving a band, it takes a bus. So you see that $3,000 increase. But there's, I'm sorry, yes. And that's not in the school committee packet, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's okay.
Any questions?
Yeah, did you play a role in this play? Like, were you a character in this play?
I'm embarrassed to say I did. I played the principal role in Footloose.
Fitting.
So it was
Neat.
a real stretch. So the acting was, it was just language I would never use. So it was so hard to kind of think like a different person.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, gosh, I'm worrying about like 6 sets of lines when these kids have pages and pages, and oh my gosh, it's just unreal what they have to learn. And I was nervous about 6 lines. But anyways, it was a great experience. I won't do it again, but great experience. Any questions?
No.
No? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, athletics. So, with this right here, we are continuing to see great growth. And I should have started off the programming by saying it's amazing that we just finished the first trimester. And with the first trimester, that was with our fall sports programs. So we probably had a little over 300, and between 300 to 340-ish students participating in our fall sports programs, which is just, we have 735 kids roughly. So that's pretty awesome that we have that many kids participating in our athletic teams. With that being said, as far as our areas of growth and expertise, we want to continue to develop student leadership. We want to send our kids off to these other schools and to represent us the best possible way. I've always looked at them as diplomats. They get on a bus, they're going to go travel, they represent us, they represent everything that is us. So we want to make sure that they have the skill sets to be able to do that. So one particular area is leadership and giving them leadership opportunities. Mrs. Tatum began doing some of this work at the end of last year, and Mr. Field is embracing that work and adding to it. So I'm hoping to see, I don't think you should need a captain's band to be a leader in a team. Leaders can come from different backgrounds, different walks of life. It can be a freshman on a team, it could be a senior on a team, especially with how kids mature these days. So I'm excited to see where that goes. Increase the community partnerships, investigate community service opportunities. We want to, in the past, I think maybe 8-10 years ago, we did these Meet the Coach nights where families could come into the school to meet the adults who are spending all of this time. I mean, our coaches are so influential to our kids. I think it's important that we have that face-to-face. So we're trying to figure out how to incorporate that, as well as trying to come up with community activities. Something that we've been back and forth with, and this is Mr. Field and I, has been trying to figure out some community service acts for our teams to participate in so they can give back. We have so many people that come back to the community to come watch. Maybe they were a former athlete, maybe they just like sports, maybe they just like being around a school. And I think it'd be a great thing for us and our students in having that many of them give back, even if it's for a couple hours on an afternoon. So we're going to try to develop some opportunities for kids there. And then increase the professional development opportunities for our coaching staff. I think sports have changed, it's evolved. You have to be, the expertise level that you have to be able to work with our kids now, with the amount of training that our kids come in with, is such at a high level that you constantly, just like with our teaching, you have to keep updating, you have to keep learning the latest practices. The MIA has a lot of activities out there, then there's a lot of other outside agencies that support our coaching staff. Those are our initiatives. As far as the changes, we do have some changes from an athletic sense, I'm sorry. I think you'll see that athletic transportation, again, just like music, with the increase of busing. Now, I will say this, we haven't added any new trips. Okay, so our teams and the amount of away games that we have are the amount of away games we've always had. It's just the fact that we're trying to figure out, after Ms. Stanek comes up with her numbers, it'll give us a better handle on just where we're at. But I feel like we're going to be roughly in that same kind of area as far as trips go. Coaches, professional development, you'll see there's a $500 increase. A typical training might run between $300 and $500 for a coach to spend 3 to 4 hours. So that's not a lot of money, but as we start to pilot things, we're going to actually try to use our internal staff members too. We do have some veteran members of our coaching team that can help some of our younger coaches or our less experienced coaches. And I think we can kind of pull from what's already made us good to kind of help. So, and when we can, I think we can send them out to other places. Uniforms. So in the past, we've been pulling our uniforms from our equipment lines. So our equipment line item in the past has covered both our fall, winter, and spring. And as you know, everything has gone up. So it's awful hard if a soccer ball was $20, 2 years ago it might be $40 now. And a basketball might be $110, believe it or not, for a game basketball. And so we were to pull uniforms. A set of uniforms for boys and girls might cost anywhere from $10,000 to $12,000 for one set of like home and away uniforms for say 25 kids. So separating that and having its own line area helps us be able to continue to take a look at our uniform distribution list and make sure we're continually updating. So uniforms are, so kids every 5, 6, 7 years, there's a new set of uniforms. Just the amount of wear and tear that they take. And really, I'll be honest with you, I think sometimes the quality isn't what it was once before. So they do break down. So that's what you see there. Huddle. This is our video processing. So we film the games, and then the coaches are able to, that film can get broken down by this group, which will actually provide notes, trends, coaching tips, which our coaches use to help coach our kids. So that's what you see there, and that is throughout our varsity program right now, our varsity programs. So our soccer teams use it, our basketball teams, our football team, those are some of the major teams that use them, but I believe there are more teams than that. Yes, and yes, Mr. Hugo in the town, they've come up with some monies to help support us in that particular line up to this point this year.
Great.
Arbiter, and I think Jen mentioned Arbiter before because that is our scheduling system as well as a payment system, so we can get out our checks to our referees in kind of a quick way. So that kind of helps because the amount of paperwork that they might have on their end is a lot to begin with, and if this can minimize things a bit. So anyways, good thing. And then just overall the dues, our league dues, the MIA dues, they've just gone up. So you see an increase where it was $8,000 this year. It's going to go up to close to $12,000. So that's why you see the jump in the $4,000. Any questions from an athletic standpoint?
Through the chair, did we change from SWICL? Did that
Oh,
go through?
we're still in the process.
Okay.
It's looking like it's all going to change. I believe there's over 30 schools that have committed.
Oh, good. Okay.
So I do think it's going to take place.
Okay.
We just sent a letter saying that we would, but we haven't got anything back as far as alignments yet.
All right, awesome.
So.
And would that roll out in the fall, next
I would start in the fall.
Yeah. Wow.
And my hope is, and I do believe it's gonna, it's not going to hurt our transportation costs because we really, when you look at the teams around us, we really are central. So, but there are some places, some schools that are kind of on the outskirts that it's not going to be as helpful for those schools. But I think we'll be okay. Okay. You know, this is a lot of me. I'm sorry. Okay. So going back to this right here, I had somebody in my old world that talked about it's all for the children, and he must have said that 3-4 times a week anytime we saw him. And I believe that when you take a look at this, I could have wrote 2 pages of slides. I really tried to condense, knowing that you'd hear so much, and I'm usually the last one to speak. The first piece is just updating our curriculum and instructional methods to reflect UDL. Throughout the year, we've been working with our coach, Karen Fidella, who's done an amazing job breaking down UDL practices for our teachers in small bites through our professional development, through our faculty meetings, and anything that we can do to meet the needs of all of our students. And truly, UDL helps meet the needs out of all of them. At the same time, knowing that our landscape has changed, our population has changed, and to be as culturally responsible as possible as well. So those two kind of guide a lot of what you see underneath even. Number 2 was partnering with our peer leaders, our Students for Diversity group, and other outside organizations to promote culturally responsive practices. You know, we had a great workshop this past fall. We're following something up in January where we have somebody coming in to speak to us more, or speak to our teaching staff about microaggressions and just some of the challenges. It's actually an English teacher from a Boston area school that's going to come in. That's just a wonderful speaker who I think can provide some tips just with the challenges that we all face in our classrooms with even managing a challenging conversation amongst kids. I'm super excited about that, and we are taking our time with this to make sure that it sticks and that it's meaningful both for our faculty as well as for our students. Utilizing our communities, our community time. Last year we met in communities twice a month. This year we're meeting every week. And I could tell you that we could use a couple extra days with the amount of work that we have and the amount of activities that we have, both from a social emotional standpoint, from a connection standpoint. As some of my peers mentioned, relationships. They couldn't be more important today. I feel like the quicker we can find connection with our student and some adult in the building, the better the experience for the kid. I'll say this, better experience for the adult too. So we have great kids, and sometimes it's just like putting a little bit of time and effort into discovering a little bit more about somebody. You're like, wow, you know, you have some things in common where you can, and that holds. And that's something that lasts, and that really helps when you're having a good day and when you're having a bad day. So using that time period during our communities to not only improve our culture in the school, but to continue to work on it's all those hard skills, right? Like how to be able to respond to conflict in a civil manner, and where, you know, you're not shouting off on social media chats or having to raise your hands up like this, you know, and unfortunately that's the world we live in, and so we need to do some of that hard work. So I'm super excited about the work that's happening there. I think the second half of the year, or the next 2/3 of the year, are going to be equally important and powerful as far as the lessons that we have planned for the kids. The next piece, as Matt mentioned, I think it's incredibly important, the partnership we have with the middle school as far as transition. Matt's been great to work with, as well as Greg was previously, and we look forward to working with the middle school team to make sure that the transition with the kids is as smooth as possible. And then lastly, again, and this is a little redundant, creation of opportunities for, so our peer leadership group. I can't call them an ADL group anymore, but our peer leadership group, trying to find ways for them to not only work within our school community, but be able to work outside in the community too, as well. You know, Auburn's a pretty awesome place, and there's so much around us where we could get our kids involved in. It's just trying to find and pick our places, and making sure our kids are ready to be able to respond in a positive manner out in the community. So those are areas of focus for this upcoming next, 12 to 15 months. And as far as changes to line items, I got two greens. An audiovisual line went from 1316 to 744, and that's just more reflective of just our general costs and spending in that particular area and where we're at right now. Wood tech went up, and I mean that's pretty. I mean just the price of lumber costs and materials, and we're filling those classes. We have 2 or 3 different people. Bill Wright and his team do a fantastic job with our woodshop 1, 2, and 3 classes. And we put 18. That's the maximum that we can have. So 18 times 5 blocks a day times 3 trimesters, that's a lot of wood. Okay, so that's why you see the increase there. And then curriculum competitions, we were able to you see a $3,000 change in the positive. So. Any questions?
Is that because you're not entering competitions or just nothing's
I think that's more
available?
reflective of just how many we're going to. We haven't reduced. If something came up, we've always found support with administration to be able to get our kids to something.
Because the robotics club, they went last year, right, somewhere? Or
Yes,
there was some-
yes. But,
Okay.
and so, for example, robotics club isn't going anywhere this year.
Okay.
But the kids aren't losing out on anything.
Okay, all right, good.
And the teachers are quick to remind me, so there's no issues with that. Any other questions? Thank you. I'm sorry I was so long.
No, it's okay. You're good. Thank you. Good, thank you.
So before I go on, I just want to say, I think it's been a long time since I've sat and smiled at work for an hour and a half. But it's just really, I think this is something we have to remind our teachers about too, and I have to do better at reminding you about the hard work you do and how much it matters. And when you sit and hear it in a comprehensive way like that, it just makes me proud and happy for our kids that they can have that experience. So thank you to everybody. That was really just great to hear all of that. So we are finally at our final thoughts. Tonight, we're presenting a draft budget of $33,283,270. It reflects an increase of $1,795,994 over last year's budget. We've used and projected offsets $3,657,998, and this equates to a 5.7% increase over the FY25 appropriated budget. And I promise you, it's not lost on any of us, the amount of that increase and what that can mean. So I stress to you that it's a draft, and I go back to the variables I talked about earlier that may impact over the coming months before we even get to select board or finance. There may be things that changed. As I said earlier, 2 weeks ago, there was not going to be any more funding for newly arrived students, and yesterday, well, that changed. And so all of that will impact this, but again, we've done our best to put this together in a way that makes sense. So we've worked to keep our positions, reflect the appropriate increases so that we don't leave anything short. We've used our offsets and maximized our use of grants. We wait to hear about Chapter 70. So what'll happen is now we'll have another meeting in 2 weeks. So at that time, once you have some time to think about tonight, again, look at the budget. You'll have another chance for any questions or thoughts, or honestly, I may come to you with changes over the next 2 weeks because seemingly things are changing from day to day. So we'll see what happens at the next meeting, and then after that, it will be all of a sudden 2025. And we do have to vote a budget forward to the town. So again, it is a draft budget, so even once it's voted to the town, if there were something that were to change after that, I may come back to you and say, we need to revisit this one more time and send a new draft forward. So time will tell. But I want to end tonight with the quote, history will judge us by the difference we make in the everyday lives of children. I've used this quote before, so it's not lost on me that it's a repeat. But I just don't want to forget that this is the work, and this is what our work does, and this is what this money serves, right? It serves children. It isn't just a dollar sign. And so what we should be thankful for is certainly all of you, certainly the greater Auburn community with the support that they've given us. But I promise you that we have tried to be as respectful as we can in coming to this number, and the number is the number. As you saw, there's no fluff in this budget. No. There's not a lot of extra. There aren't big new things. The town graciously worked with us around monies for that new math program, because previously, if you would recall, that would be included in a budget. And even back, I can remember back probably 10 years ago, they were $225,000. Well, now they're $380,000. So to put just that amount into a budget would be tremendous. So we appreciate the town working with us around that. So we're doing the best we can. We got to keep this ship rolling. So I thank you for all your support. And if you have any final questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Through the chair, did we pick a math curriculum yet, or are we still in the
No,
process?
they are down to two. Mr. Keller's been leading a committee with K-8 teachers. They're doing some observation in some other districts to go and see some of the programs, but hoping in short time they can come to a decision so that some of our March PD time can be used to prepare for that.
Cool, thank you.
Any more questions from? No, I just have a few comments. These presentations were thoughtful and just great. Like, I had goosebumps through some of them. It was just, you guys did a really great job. You can't put a price on some of this stuff, you know, so town's always been very supportive. We're thankful. We are here to represent the taxpayers, but this is money well spent. I mean, this is just a no-brainer in my opinion anyway. And you said, you know, the rowing in the same direction. I think the consistency, I see it tonight where it's like the restorative circles are starting in the lower grades and they're continuing through Swiss, and you know, then the middle school is working with the high school to streamline things. So I mean, that's rowing in the same direction right there. Like, it's just, our strategic plan is rolling out. It's great. It's great to see. And yeah, that's all I have for notes, but great job everybody. I'm really happy. So
Nice.
thank you.
So thank you very much. So again, there'll be more time to continue this conversation.
We will beat this to death.
You will beat it to death. So just before, I do want to take one moment again to thank all of you, and just to take a moment, he will be back in January, but I'd like to introduce Glenn Gregoire. Glenn, if you'd stand up, and just, he'll be back, but Glenn will take over for Mr. Fahey once Joe leaves. So he is here, they're working together. I toured a school today with Glenn, and Joe has taken him to meet some of the staff and show him, you know, boilers and those things. And all that stuff. Yeah. So he'll be back for a formal kind of meet and greet in January, but I just wanted to acknowledge and
Does he
appreciate
know
him.
about the mice and the ghosts downstairs?
Yeah, you're fine.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. All right, so I think we can let these folks head home.
Yes,
as we finish
please
things
do,
up. So
yes.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. Nicely done.
Have a good one.
Nicely done.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Ellen, I should stop sharing.
Night.
Are we
Night.
sharing? I just X? Thank you. Good night. Thanks, Brooke.
Thank you, Brooke.
Oh, awesome. Oh, that's
Thank you, yes. All right, great.
Look at that. Oh, that's amazing. They do a great job.
The comfy chairs
Have a good
here.
night.
I know you don't have the comfort. Good night,
Not a
thank you.
comfy chair. Bye,
Good
Joe.
night, thank you, Joe. Good night. Bye, Matt. Thank you very much.
Well, it was a great day.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good night. Oh, so Greg Walton just showed me this.
Oh,
People at home, yeah, this is
nice.
the plaque they got. So
Oh,
that's
beautiful.
Yep, really nice.
Yeah, that's an amazing accomplishment to be a district.
Yeah.
The whole district. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
that's awesome. All right, on to a few more things. The student privacy policies, we are here for the third read and potentially a vote by you to accept the policies. We did make the changes that were discussed at the last meeting. So I don't know if there are any further questions related to those policies.
No. Seeing that, I think we're ready to pass those and be done with that. So, all right, entertain a motion
Oh, yeah, I
to.
didn't put in the motion, sorry about that.
That's all right.
I'll make a motion. Oh, go ahead. You have it.
Oh, I have it?
You got it.
I'll make a motion to approve policy IJND, access to digital resources, policy IJNDG, student data privacy policy, and policy IJM, written information security policy.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent, thank you. We are on the second reading of updated policy EFD for the meal charge and refund for a second read. I didn't know if there were any questions.
Any questions from anyone?
We'll come back one more time. Also in your packet under new business, this is really just for your review, is the FY25 Southern Worcester County Educational Collaborative First Quarter Report, as we are mandated to present throughout the course of the year.
And I read through it every year. They just do amazing stuff.
Yeah,
It
they
is
really,
great, so.
Arnold Lundwall and his team, since he's taken over, they've done a tremendous job.
Money
Great.
well spent.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay.
No teaching and learning.
No teaching and learning. Mr. Keller's off the hook.
Off
All right, we'll turn it over to you, Ms. Stanek.
My turn. I have provided you a year-to-date budget report for the FY25 school year dated November 25th, 2024 for your review. And I've provided a listing of budget transfers dated November 25th, 2024 between the same series and different series for which I am seeking your approval.
Any questions for Ms. Stanek? No? All right, I'll seek a motion to approve those transfers.
I'll make a motion to approve the list of transfers dated November 25th, 2024, as presented by the business manager.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And I have provided with you an updated document for facility rental rates for which I am seeking your approval. And just to give you a little background on that, in my new role, I have seen firsthand the need for more accurate and efficient scheduling and billing for the usage of our indoor and outdoor facilities. Additionally, the heavy usage, cost of maintenance, and staffing to maintain the standard that our community has been accustomed to comes at a price. We have excellent facilities and know and appreciate the support we receive from our Auburn community and the Pappas Trust. We are blessed. As I mentioned earlier this evening, we are working with FMX to streamline our facilities rentals. Therefore, we have reviewed our fee schedule in preparation for that. We've added a deposit and cancellation fee, which are pretty standard practices when renting any facility. Previously, you will note that Group B was not charged for usage. However, the costs are falling on our district from their usage, which ultimately should not be, as these are not the school-sponsored organizations. As you know, these organizations do charge fees and obtain sponsors, seemingly making it possible for them to support the cost of their usage of our facilities. As always, we want to continue our positive relationship with our community partners, and we'll support them with our transition to our new system. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Through the chair, I do have a couple questions because Auburn Youth did reach out to me. Have they been, so I guess their concern, if I get it correctly, it was late at night, was they weren't aware of the increase. So now the kids who are playing like right now, they're probably going to be in the red because of the increase in costs of rental. So were they told beforehand, or is that something?
It wasn't shared with our members because it needs to come to you first.
Yeah. So
It
I
needs
didn't.
to come to you
Yeah.
first.
I don't know from a budget.
Youth who?
Basketball.
Okay. I just didn't.
Oh, I thought you meant AYFS. I'm like,
No, 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 no.
I thought you meant too, and I was like,
Yeah. No, so I think what you're saying, that it could be that we may need to delay the roll-in of this so that
That's
they
what
can
I'm-
accommodate into their
If
fees.
we can handle
Sure.
that in the or like
Yep.
I know in baseball at least we do a good job of fundraising. We have sponsors and all that, and that way maybe they can get that rolling.
Yep.
If we can delay, if possible.
Yep.
But I
It's,
think
it's in some of the things, because it's an online system, they're getting ready to put those things in and those things into place. We
Yeah.
can delay that.
Yeah.
We could discuss it, but
Yeah, I just
it
don't
is
know.
certainly, that is something that, they weren't getting any fees. And
Right.
the district is paying for that, which is our tax
Paying for
dollars,
it, right.
which is,
Right.
And
we just need to
you
be-
heard tonight, right, that just the track replacement
alone.
Yeah.
was
Right.
over $250,000. And the usage, the other piece of this is the actual managing of the usage. Right now, so we did set up a Google form that they've been using. But what happens is that they won't know what the dates are that they're gonna need.
Right, right.
So they book every possible date they can book. And then what happens is, they don't tell us that they don't need it for half of them.
Right.
And so now we've denied other places, and it's, what this system, FMX, is gonna allow people to do is, we're going to be able to put in what's available. And then the system is going to say, yes, you can have this. We're gonna put some limits on the number of sessions groups can book, so that they can't book
Right.
40 sessions when they only need 20.
Yeah.
And some things like that.
And having them have to pay ahead will stop that too, probably, hopefully.
Correct.
Right, and we're gonna request a 50% deposit, and
Yeah.
they'll get right
Double.
away.
Yeah.
Instead of what's happening, in the practice has been, we're billing them after events have happened.
Then you don't know
Or
if you're gonna
they
get it.
cancel and we have a site manager, that we have to pay the site manager, but then
They aren't there.
they're not there. So, we, as you know, during my internship last year, looking at local area facilities and things that have facilities that are like ours, to ensure that we're in line with what's going on, and to be able to sustain, the maintenance and all of that. We want the community in here, absolutely, and we are blessed with the Pappas Trust for things that happen at the high school and whatnot. But also, if fees are charged to the people that are coming in to use them,
Right.
we should be able to utilize some of that to support our facilities.
Yeah. And most school districts do this. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, my only thought would be if we could delay, at least for the seasons that are current. I don't know about soccer, I don't, like.
Just
if-
basketball right now, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if soccer registration for the spring is opened up yet.
I
If
think it has,
that-
actually. I think it's been in my notice
It has.
to go out. I
Sure.
think we
Has
sent
it?
it out already. I think that's a completely reasonable request to give them a heads up. I think for part of this is particularly for Group C and D, that we can get this set up for them,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
So even if we went that route initially and then added the next level on, I think that's a reasonable
Yeah.
request, so that they can factor that into the fees that they,
Charge.
whatever they charge for the kids to play.
Or fundraising.
Yeah, through the chair, I did remember when we saw this, I think it was like 2 years ago.
Yep.
A couple people approached me and were angry about it, and I brought that concept of, like, you're using the school facilities. And I see both sides. As a parent, like, I don't want to pay more in registration fees for the numerous sports my children want to play. But at the same time, and I had a couple people approach me, and I said, you're using the facilities, and you're walking in the winter, and you are walking into the school, and you're wearing winter boots on the basketball court. Like, then I was like, do you know how much it costs to redo a basketball court? They're like, no. I'm like, look into it. It's a lot of money. So I agree that, but I also do agree with Megan. Maybe we say that, June 1st it starts. So we give, the current soccer registration, we give softball, we give soccer, we give basketball a chance, and then we get those, and then we say, okay, from this point forward now. I would say a June 1st start for, Group A, it doesn't matter, but for Group B, and we give them a chance to be like, hey, listen, this is coming down the pipeline. We need to do this for wear and tear.
Yeah.
Every other school in the area does it.
And I will tell you too, I have heard, because I met with several of the coaches last spring, that we're taxpayers in this town and we should be able to use it.
Yeah.
And I agree with that, and we want our community to use it. But what their tax is, we don't have a line item
Right.
for maintenance,
Yeah.
for outside usage.
Yeah.
We don't have that line item, right? You just saw our budget. Everything's accounted for. There isn't that extra pot of money to make sure that we can pay for people to be there to supervise these organizations that are coming in. And for any additional setup that might have to happen, or whatever it is, and the wear and tear on the floor, which, Glenn and I walked the middle school, and the middle school's floor has historically, they have to do some special things there because it gets slippery.
Yeah.
Right? Because of the wear that it gets, it can get slippery. Nobody's looking at this to try and honestly make any money.
Yeah.
Right.
We're looking at it to make sure that we can maintain facilities, which, we have amazing facilities across the board, but a lot of use, and we get a lot of use.
A lot of use, yeah.
And what this system will do too is when people put in the time that they want, it's going to automatically generate
The fee.
an estimated fee for them, for the number. So they're gonna get it right away. 'Cause So now,
The human right out of it.
yeah,
All computer.
the Google form, because our Google form can't do that. So they put it in, and then Kara or Denise at the high school, if it's at the high school, they have to go through and say, okay, it's this many days, this is what we would charge, this is what's available. It really is heavily labor intensive right now.
Through the chair, this is still pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Comparatively to.
Well, and actually, some of our prices were cheaper than some of the others. That, you know, we didn't feel that it was fair to increase crazy things. And we tried to be pretty consistent about the size of the space and where the space was, and the turf fields versus non-turf fields. And that actually, my administrative assistant and I met with and did a walk of the facilities and fields and whatnot with Kurt Field, our athletic director, so that we can also put in there, you know, what are the fields lined for that are official, that people can rent them for and everything, so that we have all of the right information. I would just ask, because Group B does currently pay for site managers, so I would ask that we keep that in place, and maybe just the building rental piece. I would also like to keep the cancellation fee for others as well. You know, that's 3 days in the event, because what'll happen is, if they cancel the event after the high school has let out, there's no secretary to get the information to then cancel a site manager. I have to, by law, pay somebody for 3 hours if they come to work. So I would just ask that you would consider that at this time, and potentially the deposit of what they would have with that. You know, the building rental price, you know, I think that's totally reasonable. You know, we needed to discuss it first before I put it out to the community. So I would just ask if we could approve those pieces to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll kind of do like a staggered approach, I guess. So approve those, you know, very much needed things. Can I also see, and you can just email it to me on the side or whatever, what the current rates are and how much, to show how much they're going up, just so I can see.
Oh, we should have thought of that.
And through the chair, I think
I
a
thought
lot
I
of things we don't pay attention to is that the public comes in and they don't always follow the rules. So they could do unnecessary damage to the facilities and not, you know, and they might not have any, like they're not, may not be an Auburn person. Saw someone drinking a coffee the other day in the gym. I'm like, you can't drink a coffee.
Yeah. We've limited some folks. Like, we've had some issues with places, particularly some dance recitals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We have a nice auditorium, so yeah.
We have a beautiful auditorium, but you know what a dance recital is backstage,
Well, that's true.
right? With all the room that they need for, you know, costume changes and makeup and all of that. And so the last one that came by, we said no, because the cleanup for the custodian was so extensive. There was no damage, but it was just a mess, you know? So we just said no, even though we can make money on those, you know, that can go into this fund. But then we had it was a Taekwondo that came in, and it went great. And, you know, we made some money because they were an outside organization. So
Yeah.
it's finding that balance and what works.
Not as much makeup in Taekwondo.
Yeah.
Maybe some blood, but not.
And, you know, as for the taxpayers saying, you know, we deserve to use these facilities and whatnot, the track, all the damage to the track was the strollers, was the community, you know, using it on Sundays and whenever it was open, just using it. And we appreciate it, that's great, but that is exactly why we have to have these fees, you know, so.
Yeah.
It's gotta come from somewhere, like we
does.
can't pay for it, so.
And through the chair, they can always ask the select board if they want to make a line item for it outside the schools.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're gonna get us in trouble.
Sorry, it's late, I need caffeine. They're gonna call me.
You need a Diet Coke.
I need a Diet Coke.
All right, so how are we gonna word this?
I have something written if you want to hear it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
To approve the updated document for facility rental dated November 25th, 2024, as presented by the business manager with Group B building rental starting June 1st, but cancellation fee and site manager fee starting immediately.
June 1st, will that get us through soccer? I don't know how long soccer goes.
So maybe, yeah.
I don't know.
Just
My,
say-
my kids are
so
not
You
soccer
could do-
inclined.
I would maybe suggest July 1st, that's our new
Okay.
fiscal year.
Fine.
Okay.
Oh, that's a
July
great idea.
1st.
July 1st. So it would be to approve the updated document for facility rental rates dated November 25th, 2024, as presented by the business manager with Group B building rental starting July 1st, but cancellation fees and site manager fees starting immediately.
Can you give that to Mandy
Yeah, I'll
so
give it.
she has it?
You want me to make
Nice
the
job,
motion?
Sam.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's really good.
And I love the cancellation fee. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
if they're booking that many
Did you
days,
also want to
agree.
add
Oh, the
the
deposit.
deposit?
Yes, actually, if you don't mind, because we're hoping to roll this out, the FMX, for January. So, yes, if you could add that.
So,
And
Yeah, what else do you want?
hold on.
What do you want?
What else can we get?
A, Group C, Group D, starting immediately. And with Group B, building rental starting July 1st, but cancellation fee, site manager fee, and deposit.
Right. And on the back is any of the add-ons, and those, for the most part, haven't changed.
I did check with Mr. Fahey if he thought we should go up on the outdoor lighting, but he thought that that was still appropriate.
Right.
And where does PTO, junior ARC and all, and do they fall under the public schools, like Group A?
I don't believe. Oh, I don't know, actually.
That's an interesting question.
So what do you're thinking, like spooky spectacular?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they should have to pay.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think we.
All
I
their
don't-
money goes back to
I
the
know,
program.
I don't think we've ever charged them for that.
No,
Yeah, they have
and
to
I
be
don't
under the
think that
schools.
they.
The other thing is that those, like, if we just think of that one, like Dr. Lopez is there, so I don't even know that we have a site manager. We have a custodian on board, right? But we have second shift custodians anyway, so that's not an additional custodian. So I don't think things like that.
I'm not sure that they've even filled out like the
No.
Okay.
building rental.
Yeah, all right.
That all
agreement. I
goes
think the
typically through
principals
the
take care of
principal.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right,
You know
so
what I mean?
totally
So, no,
separate,
we
yeah.
would not, because all of their fundraising comes
Yeah,
back.
right,
and
exactly.
directly impacts
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
students.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just making sure. All right, so let's get that motion going.
You want to say it one more time, Sam?
Yep.
And just so you know, I put the date of 12/4 on there. I keep doing that with my dates, and I apologize. I put the meeting date on there instead. So it's
Alright.
dated 12/4.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the updated document for facility rental rates dated November 25th, 2024, as presented by the business manager, with Group A, C, and D starting immediately, and with Group B, building rental starting July 1st, with the exception of cancellation fees, site manager fees, and a deposit starting immediately.
I second that. That sounds great.
Yeah, it does. That was good.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. And I will say the next go-round, when we do, I don't know, I want to see how much things have increased, I guess,
Yeah,
before.
and we can actually
It's a
send
go.
that out to you.
Okay.
Yeah, we can send that out.
I apologize. I meant
No
to
worries.
include that
That's
so you
okay.
could compare it.
I mean, this all looks fine to me,
Yeah.
I'm just curious, so. All right, was that it?
That's it.
Oh my gosh, okay, make a motion to adjourn, and seek a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is a vote. All right, good night, everyone, thank you.
Right.